The Golden State Warriors finally introduced their big off-season addition, and it is none other than veteran center Al Horford. His press conference gave fans and analysts plenty to think about, and the truth is this move brings both excitement and caution. On one hand, Horford is approaching the twilight of his career, and there are legitimate questions about his ability to handle a long season, especially since he has not played back-to-back games consistently in recent years. On the other hand, when he spoke, he carried himself with a calm and steady confidence that reminded everyone exactly why the Warriors went after him. He is not just another body in the rotation. He is a proven winner, a player who has been part of multiple deep playoff runs, and someone who has the type of mentality that Golden State values most, the mentality of a champion. When you look at the Warriors roster as it stands today, they are not necessarily built on overwhelming size or youth. They do not have a lineup stacked with young seven-footers who can bully their way inside against the taller front courts around the league. What they do have, though, is a culture of winning that has been forged over the past decade. Horford fits into that culture seamlessly. He has been through battles in both Atlanta and Boston, and he has reached the mountaintop before. He understands the preparation, the sacrifice, and the resilience it takes to go the distance in the playoffs. He has been on the losing side against Golden State in the finals back in 22, but he also knows the taste of victory after lifting a title in 24. Add to that his college legacy with Florida, where he captured 2 national championships, and you see the blueprint of a player who knows how to win at every level. That type of experience is exactly what the Warriors want to pass on to their younger players, especially someone like Quentin Post. Post is the only true 7-footer on the roster, and while he shows plenty of promise, he is still learning how to be effective against elite big men. Horford's presence gives Golden State a mentor who can help accelerate that growth. Unlike some veterans who chase the spotlight or prefer to mingle with opponents mid-game, Horford is focused, stoic, and all business. For nearly 2 decades, he has built a reputation as someone who shows up, does his job, keeps his team locked in, and walks off the court without unnecessary theatrics. That steady demeanor is something the Warriors can lean on during the grind of an 82-game season. Now, where this really matters is with Draymond Green. At this stage in his career, Draymond has made it clear that he does not want to log heavy minutes as a small ball center anymore. And honestly, who can blame him? He has given his body to this franchise, battling giants in the paint for years, but time catches up with every player. His strength today is not in muscling with 7-footers for rebounds night after night, but in orchestrating the offense. He is the half-court general, the one who keeps the ball moving, who sees the floor better than anyone else on the roster. He is still one of the best facilitators in basketball, but expecting him to constantly bang inside for rebounds and post-defense is simply not realistic anymore. Horford gives the Warriors an answer to that. He can take those tough minutes against bigger centers, he can stretch the floor with his shooting, and he can allow Draymond to focus on what he does best, organizing the offense, directing traffic, and letting Stephen Curry and the shooters do their work. That balance could be the key to keeping Draymond fresh, maximizing what Post brings, and giving Golden State a center rotation that, while not young and deep, is at least functional and built around basketball intelligence. The front office, of course, still faces its share of scrutiny. Ever since Bob Myers stepped away in 23, the spotlight has been on Mike Dunleavy Jr. as he tries to prove that he can guide this franchise through a new era. Fans remember him as a player, but his role now is far more complicated. This summer, he brought in Horford, he brought in Jimmy to provide another scoring and defensive option, and he added Seth Curry to give the team some backcourt chemistry and depth. On paper, the roster is better than it was last season. That much is undeniable. But is it good enough to really scare the top teams in the Western Conference? That is the question hanging over Dunleavy's decisions. There is no denying that this Warriors team is not built on length. They're not going to overwhelm anyone physically, and Dunleavy has not yet put together that type of statement offseason where the entire league suddenly looks at Golden State and says, this team is a serious threat. Instead, it feels like he is piecing things together, leaning on the momentum of last year, and hoping that a few smart additions will be enough. To his credit, he has admitted that the roster is not complete, and he has hinted that players like Jonathan Kuminga or other young pieces could be moved if the right deal becomes available. That honesty is refreshing, but it also underscores the uncertainty of this team's direction. And then there is the matter of who slipped away. Both Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton were available this offseason, and there was a moment when either could have landed in Golden State. Imagine a lineup where Horford is backed up by Ayton, with Smart providing his defensive intensity and leadership alongside Curry. That would have been a completely different look, one that gave the Warriors both toughness and size. Instead, those players ended up elsewhere, including with the Lakers, who now present a direct challenge. This Sunday will be the first real glimpse of how all these pieces come together. Warriors versus Lakers, LeBron James against Stephen Curry. This is a matchup that always carries weight, no matter if it is the preseason or the playoffs. But the real intrigue will come after the stars sit down. Chances are LeBron and Curry will play a few minutes, maybe a quarter at most, before calling a night. The rest of the game will belong to the younger guys and the role players fighting for roster spots. For Golden State, this is where we will see Quentin post-tested, where we will see how Horford adjusts to his new team, and where we will get our first hints about whether the Warriors can actually survive against a team with size like the Lakers. DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves. These are the names to watch on the Lakers side. All three could have been Warriors in a different timeline, but now they are suiting up in purple and gold. If Post and Horford can hold their ground against Ayton, if the Warriors can keep Smart from dictating the defensive tempo, then maybe, just maybe, the doubts about this roster start to fade. Because the truth is, Golden State will not be judged in the preseason. They will not be judged in the first month. Championship runs are marathons, not sprints. But the early signs matter, especially for a fan base hungry to know whether this team is still in the hunt for another banner or if the front office needs to pull the trigger on another move. This weekend is not about wins and losses. It is about showing progress, about young players proving they belong, about veterans demonstrating that they can still set the tone. It is about seeing if Horford's leadership translates immediately, if Post can stretch the floor with his shot, and if Draymond can truly take on his new role without wearing down. For Dunleavy, it is about seeing if the roster he has assembled looks like a contender, or if the pressure will mount quickly for changes. The Warriors' story this season is only just beginning, but already the questions feel enormous. Do they have enough size? Do they have enough youth? Do they have the right balance of stars and role players? For now, they have Horford's wisdom, Draymond's leadership, Curry's brilliance, and a supporting cast with potential. Whether that combination is enough to chase another championship is something we will learn step by step, starting with this early test against Los Angeles. As the Warriors continue preparing for this new season, the big question is not whether Stephen Curry can still play at an elite level. Everyone knows he can, and every season he proves it again. The real question is how much support he will have around him, and whether that support is enough to push the Warriors through the brutal grind of the Western Conference. The addition of Al Horford gives Golden State a stabilizing presence, but this roster is not free of flaws. In fact, some of those flaws are glaring, and they will either be addressed during the season or they will come back to haunt the team when the games start to matter in the spring. The most obvious concern is size. The Warriors are not built to be a physically dominant team, and that has been the case for years. In the dynasty's prime, they got away with it because they had the perfect blend of speed, shooting, and versatility. But basketball evolves, and right now the league is filled with long, athletic big men who can punish smaller lineups inside. Last postseason, the Warriors saw exactly how difficult it is to survive without enough size when they face teams that attack the glass relentlessly. Draymond Green gave everything he had. Kevin Looney fought hard, but the physical toll was clear. Golden State knows that asking Draymond to anchor the middle full-time is not a sustainable plan anymore. That is why Horford's arrival is so significant, and why Quentin Post's development is not just a nice storyline, but an absolute necessity. Another layer of concern is depth. The Warriors' top group is talented, no one doubts that. Curry, Draymond, Horford, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins. These are proven names who can compete at the highest level. But what happens when one or two of them miss time, which is almost inevitable across a long season? This is where the younger players and the new additions must step in. Seth Curry brings some instant offense and familiarity with the system, but the pressure is on players like Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, and Post to contribute meaningful minutes. If they cannot, Golden State will find themselves in the same position as last year, leaning heavily on their stars and running out of gas when it matters most. Mike Dunleavy Jr. finds himself at a crossroads because he is balancing two realities at once. On one side, he has a roster that still includes championship-tested veterans who know how to win and are not ready to step aside. On the other side, he has a group of younger players who need time, touches, and trust to grow. That tension is not easy to manage, and it is part of why the offseason left some fans frustrated. He did not swing for the fences by landing a major young star, and instead chose incremental upgrades. The risk of that approach is clear. Incremental upgrades might not be enough in a conference where teams like Denver, Minnesota, and the Lakers are loaded with length and power. Still, Dunleavy's cautious approach could pay off if the chemistry clicks. This is where the Warriors' identity comes in. They have never been about overwhelming opponents physically. They have been about breaking them mentally. The constant ball movement, the unselfish passing, the relentless shooting. When the Warriors are playing their style, teams unravel. Even when down by 20 points, you never feel like they are out of the game. That was true during the peak Kevin Durant era, and it resurfaced last season in stretches when they looked unstoppable. The problem is sustaining that over an entire campaign. That is why this upcoming stretch of games, including the early preseason clash with the Lakers, matters more than the box score. It is about establishing a rhythm and seeing who fits into the rotation. When LeBron James and Anthony Davis check out early, when Curry gets his token minutes and sits, the focus shifts to the bench. How does Quentin Post hold up against DeAndre Ayton? Can Moody create offense for himself and others? Will Seth Curry's shooting open the floor the way his brothers always does? These are the questions that will shape the Warriors' season far more than whatever the final score shows on Sunday. What complicates everything is the reality that this roster is still in flux. Dunleavy has already admitted that moves could be coming and that younger players could be traded to balance things out. The most obvious name that has been floated is Jonathan Kuminga, a talented forward with athleticism to spare, but someone who has not consistently carved out his role in Golden State's system. If the right opportunity comes along, Kuminga could be the centerpiece of a trade that brings back a bigger piece for the frontcourt. That would not be an easy decision, but the Warriors have shown before that they are not afraid to make bold moves when chasing championships. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are swirling through the NBA world, and all eyes are on the Golden State Warriors. Sources close to the organization suggest that head coach Steve Kerr, the mastermind behind the team's recent championship runs, might be on the verge of leaving the Bay Area. While nothing has been confirmed officially, insiders hint that discussions behind the scenes have intensified, leaving fans both anxious and intrigued. Kerr, known for his calm demeanor and sharp basketball mind, has been at the helm of the Warriors for over a decade, guiding them through dynastic periods and navigating the highs and lows of the league. Under his leadership, the team has become synonymous with fast-paced offense, lethal three-point shooting, and a culture that emphasizes teamwork over individual glory. Yet, according to murmurs within NBA circles, the coach might be considering a departure, potentially seeking new challenges or a fresh environment. The reasons behind this possible exit remain speculative. Some believe that internal tensions, perhaps stemming from recent roster changes or philosophical differences with the front office, could be nudging Kerr toward the door. Others argue that the coach, having achieved nearly everything in Golden State, might simply be yearning for a new chapter in his storied career. Whatever the truth, the rumor alone has already sparked a firestorm among fans, analysts, and players alike. Reactions from the Warriors' locker room have been cautiously optimistic yet tinged with uncertainty. Star players, who have long credited Kerr for their development, are reportedly keeping lines of communication open while bracing for any potential shift in leadership. The impact of such a departure would be seismic. Kerr's system is woven into the very fabric of the Warriors' identity, and replacing him would be no small task. Across the league, chatter is growing. Rival teams are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, weighing the possibility of luring Kerr to other franchises should he decide to leave. Meanwhile, social media platforms are abuzz, with speculation ranging from potential successors to hypothetical scenarios that could reshape the NBA landscape entirely. For now, Golden State fans are left in a limbo of hope and apprehension, clinging to the hope that Kerr might stay, but preparing for a future that could look very different. As the season progresses, one thing is clear. The mere hint of Steve Kerr's departure has already set the basketball world alight, turning casual conversations into heated debates and reminding everyone just how pivotal one coach can be to the destiny of a franchise. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.